Bright QT. Every student matters.
The next thing that we are going to look at is food security. Now, what is food security? We have food and we have security. What does it mean? Does it mean securing food, or does it mean protection of the food grains? What is it? Now, food security means something more than just getting meals a day. Food security does not mean that you make sure that people get 2 meals a day. It's not just about that, but it is an ability to ensure that people have access to enough food for an active and healthy life. Okay, on a long term basis. It is not just about getting a plate of rice and dal for one day. It is not something which deals with making sure that people have food to eat for the week or for the month, but it is the ability to make sure that people have enough food, okay, for their active and healthy life on a long term basis, not on a short term basis, on a long term basis, forever. Okay, it means that sufficient food grains are or should be available for people to meet their domestic demand. Okay, food security means access to enough food, but it is also to do with sufficient food grains. It has to be enough to meet your domestic demand. In the house, if you only eat food, is it enough? It is not enough. You have to make sure that the food which comes to your house, which is cooked in the kitchen, is sufficient for your parents, for your grandparents, for your siblings, for you. All right? So that also means food security. Okay? So this goes both on individual level, also collective level. Of course, you have to have enough food, but that is not enough. Okay, your family, the people living in your house should also have enough food. So it is both for individual people and also for your family, or on a collective level. All right. Now, food security means more than that. It means food should be affordable. So just getting food, provision of food, is not food security. Provision of food for yourself and for your family and friends, that is not food security. But provision of sufficient amount of nutritious food for your health, for your sustenance at affordable prices is also food security. The food that you get should be affordable. You should be able to buy it. You should be able to go to the market and have the money to buy it. Okay, the prices have to be such that you can easily buy it and not think about it and then decide not to buy it and come back home and sleep hungry. Okay, that's not food security. So the three main dimensions of food security are availability, it should be available; accessibility, it should be accessible, you should be able to get it; and it should be affordable, affordability. Okay, so 3 A's. 3 A's: availability, accessibility, and affordability. Okay. Now let us look at the Food and Agriculture Organization. Now, food security, it ensures that all people at all times have both physical and economic access to basic food they need. Now, this organization, okay, the Food and Agriculture Organization, it defined what food security should mean. So according to it, food security is something that should ensure that all people at all times have both physical and economic access to basic food that they need. So it's saying that you can not only have the money to buy it, but you should actually have physical strength. You should actually be physically capable to have an access to the food grains as well. So that is food security. It is not just merely getting food. It is also about having the power, okay, having the money to afford the food. Okay, so both of this, if we ensure it, that is food security. Alright. Now there are essential components of food security, some of the important points. Alright. So let us look at them. The first one is food security involves availability of sufficient quantities and good quality of food. So food security makes sure that food is available in sufficient quantity as well as quality. So both quantity and quality of the food is necessary. Okay, just by giving the food does not mean that the person is food secure. You have to make sure along with the quantity of the food, the quality has to be good as well. Number 2, people have enough purchasing power so that they can acquire food they need. So food security means that people have purchasing power, people have money to buy the food that they need. The third is food security ensures timely, reliable and nutritionally adequate supply of food on a long-term basis. Food security also means, or food security ensures, that the food that is provided is timely, is reliable and nutritionally adequate, not only for a short time but for a long time. Okay. The fourth component, it makes sure that a buffer stock is maintained. What is a buffer stock? That a kind of storage is built of the food grains, okay, so that in times of calamities, in times of famine, in times of widespread of diseases, in times of shortages of food, from that buffer stock you can take the food grains and distribute among the people. So that is also food security. All right. Now, the concept of this food security, what we just learned about food security, it keeps changing with the stage of development that a country is in. Like for example, the definition of food security for India 100 years could have been different than what it is now. With the time of development and growth in its economy, the meaning of food security has changed. Earlier, probably you did not need tons and tons of food, and that may have defined what food security was 100 years ago. But today, the food security means making sure that people have 3 meals a day, making sure that the nutrition level of the food is increased, is met, the basic nutrition requirement is met. So what I'm trying to say is that the concept, the idea or the meaning of food security keeps changing as the country goes through its developmental process. All right. So there are certain things which we need to consider when it comes to food security in developing economies. So India is a developing country where the growth of the economy is in a state of developmental process. It's a continuing process. It's not developed yet, but we are in the process of development. Okay, so such countries need to consider certain things when it comes to food security. Okay, we learned about the definition of food security, but in addition to that, we have to take certain things in consideration. Okay, so the first stage that we need to consider is to make sure an adequate quantity of cereals are available to all the people for their survival. So we need to make sure that cereals, adequate enough amount of cereals are available for everybody. Okay, the second stage includes adequate availability of cereals and pulses. In the second stage, cereals and pulses are required. In the third stage, availability of cereals, pulses, milk and milk products. So you see, we have to have cereals in the first stage, second stage cereals and pulses, third stage cereals, pulses, milk and milk products. So these are the food items that need to be provided to people. Okay, and these stages have to be considered for a developing country or countries with developing economies like India. And in the fourth and final stage, we must consider including cereals, pulses, milk and milk products along with vegetables, fruits, fish, eggs and meat for the sustenance of the people, for the active life of the people. Okay, so these are the stages that we need to consider. All right. So we learned about food security, right?